If you're anything like me, you spend a lot of your time scrolling on Pinterest for outfit inspiration, and you may find yourself wondering where these girls are getting all of their beautiful summery floral Bridgerton style dresses from. So that is what I thought I would talk about in today's video. I have 10 dress brands, or brands that do beautiful summery floral ethically made, sustainably made dresses, some of which I have physically to show you some examples of, and some of which I haven't tried yet but are on my radar and on my wish list to try at some point. So I thought I would let you know about them in case you haven't heard of them. The first brand I want to talk to you about is Nobody's Child. I have mentioned them previously, but this is my first time trying them. These are on the more affordable side when it comes to this video. Obviously, when we're talking about ethical and sustainable clothing, it does tend to be on the higher price point. A lot of these items are handmade in small batches, so the price point is reflective of that. However, Nobody's Child is on the more affordable side. I would say their dresses run between about £50 and £80 depending on the style. Sometimes, quite often, they do 20% off as well, so definitely look out for discount codes and sales if you would like to try a dress from them. As a brand, I've had the opportunity recently to test out a few of their dresses. I went into store. In the UK, Nobody's Child are stocked in places like department stores, so like John Lewis, Marks and Spencer's, House of Fraser. They all have small collections of Nobody's Child dresses. So I went and I tried a few on. I don't have clips of it, but my takeaway was that there are some really nice ones that I think are worth the more affordable price point, and some that I would probably skip. I think mainly the organic cotton dresses are nice. They tend to be lined. They tend to be a nice kind of thickish cotton material, quite flattering. And then some of their viscose lensing dresses I think feel quite cheap. They feel more on par with something that you might find at H&M or Zara. So I would probably skip those ones. I do have a couple to show you, both in the same style, because this was by far my favourite style when I tried on a few of their different silhouettes. So this particular style is called their Starlight dress. I believe this is their most popular dress. They do this in a mini version, and they also do it in this one, which I would say is like a mid-axi. It's a little bit longer than your standard midi, but not quite floor length on someone who's an average height. They do this dress in, I want to say, at least 10 different colours and designs. Some are plain, just block colours. Some have embroidery. You can see that this one is like an embroidery anglais. This is a bright green colour. They have neutral ones. They have brighter ones, patterned ones as well. I would say this is one of the highest quality and most flattering dresses from Nobody's Child. It is a puff sleeve, deep V, mid-axi length. It comes in at the waist quite nicely. I think this is the sort of dress that flatters a lot of different body types, especially if you have a similar body type to me. I do also have this plain coloured one, which is not done up, so excuse that. But this is a plain block one. I think this might be a linen blend, actually. Yeah, so this is lyocell and linen, so I don't like the material of this one quite as much as the green one, which is cotton, but I do still like it, and it is on the more affordable side. I believe this one is about £70, and then this one is about £100. But again, you can almost always get at least 15%, if not 20% off Nobody's Child dresses. These are the ones I would recommend, or if you like a mini dress, the mini version of this is the same. They also do a long sleeve version as well, if you would prefer a long sleeve to the puff sleeve. One thing I will say about these particular puff sleeves is I do really like them. I am really particular about puff sleeves. I think a lot of them can be quite unflattering, especially if they're a bit tight on your arm. However, these are done really well in the sense that the elastic that kind of clings to your arm is not visible. I find that that makes all the difference. Whereas because this has material that kind of flows over that elastic, the actual kind of tightness on your arm is hidden, so I feel like it gives a much more flattering effect. So that's something that I really appreciate with these dresses. I would recommend these as a more affordable budget option. I know they're not cheap, but again, when we're talking about more ethical and sustainably made clothing, they are on the more affordable side. The second brand I want to mention is a brand that I haven't tried personally, but again has been on my radar for a while and looks like they do some very pretty Mediterranean inspired dresses, mostly resort wear, vacation wear, with a little bit of occasion wear and bridal wear in there as well. The brand is called Melina. They're a Scandinavian brand, but as I said, the design elements are very much Mediterranean inspired. It all looks like it would be perfect in Greece, in Italy, in Spain. Lots of florals, lots of linen and cotton. The price point is definitely higher than Nobody's Child, but still kind of in that more mid-range price bracket. It's not one I've tried personally, so I can't comment exactly on the quality, although I have heard fairly positive reviews of people who I've seen mentioning them on social media. But this is where you come in. If you have tried any of these brands and you have direct experience, both positive or negative, then I would love for you to leave your feedback down in the comments, because that will be really helpful for other people who are considering these brands, especially the brands that I haven't yet tried myself. Brand number 3 is a very recent discovery for me and one of my favourites in this video. They're called Pink City Prints, and they make some of the most stunning dresses that you've ever seen. They are handmade in India, and they use specialist kind of traditional Indian techniques, so block printing, all done by hand embroidery as well. So the dresses are really special. There's so much thought and care and design that goes into each one, and they talk about that a lot on their website. They have dedicated pages about their creators, their makers, the people who print their dresses, the people who design them, the people who sew them, embroider them, and I really appreciate that as well. So I would really recommend checking them out. They are a mid-range brand. I would say the average price for one of their dresses is about £200. I have a couple to show you here because I really wanted to show you these in person so you can really appreciate how beautiful they are. This has to be my favourite one. This one is so beautiful. It's a very similar silhouette to the dress that I'm wearing. I really like a dress with these little kind of ruffle cap sleeves. So I went with a similar shape for this one. Obviously, I will show you a full-length clip of this, but it is right up my street. It's a white background with a pink floral and then this hand embroidery on the chest. This is shirred, or what's the other name for shirring? You know what I mean? It's like a stretchy material here. It is a mid-axi length, so again, it's just kind of that midpoint between midi and a true maxi on me. I love it. It's so pretty. And yeah, all of this design is hand printed, hand block printed. And I just love the attention to detail that goes into their dresses, and the fact that they are such a small kind of independent brand. They don't make huge quantities of clothing. They don't make huge collections. They just have a few designs. They're all really pretty. I have another one here. This one, again, I went for pink. I just love pink. This one's slightly more neon, slightly brighter, so really fun. I can definitely imagine this on a Greek island somewhere. This one is green and pink, and it's a slightly more simple design. I think this one was slightly less expensive than this one, about £180. By the way, they are all 100% cotton, at least the ones that I got, but they use pretty much, I think, solely natural fibres. They aren't lined, although this one isn't lined, but they're thick enough and they're kind of printed and colourful enough that they aren't see-through at all. Has this simple drawstring top. It does have adjustable straps, so you can adjust the height of these straps accordingly. Yes, really pretty. Fourth on the list is a slightly more established brand, one that some of you will definitely have heard of. They're called Faithful the brand. They originated in Bali. I think most of their things are made in Bali or in Australia, and they do a lot of linen. They do, I mean, it's very summery, as you might expect from a Balinese or Australian brand. It's a lot of kind of beach wear, it's a lot of resort wear. Simple pieces often, quite a lot of the time, neutral colours, block colours, lots of dresses and linen and cotton sets. I do think that some of their pieces are a bit hit and miss. Similar to Nobody's Child, they have some lensing viscose pieces that I think are probably quite overpriced for what they actually are. I think often they resemble dresses, again, that you can find at cheaper brands like H&M, because they're just made of a very thin viscose. But I do think that some of their more premium items, like their linen sets, their linen dresses, are amazing, and some of the design details are beautiful. I have one dress to show you from Faithful. I wore this dress in one of my most recent videos and you all really loved it, so I thought I would show it again. This is a mini dress. It's a white mini dress from Faithful. It is absolutely beautiful. It's 100% linen and it's lined in cotton as well on the bottom, not on the top layer. It's quite a thick linen. It's got these interesting kind of 3/4 length balloon sleeves, and then this really beautiful cinched, almost corseted waist. So what the really nice thing about this dress is that you don't have to wear a belt with it to get that cinched waist look. I find that if you're really hot, if it's very warm outside, the last thing I want to be doing is putting a heavy, thick leather belt on. I just find it quite suffocating and quite uncomfortable. But I like that look, obviously, of cinching my waist. So this dress kind of does that for you. You don't have to do it with a belt. It's already built into the dress. And I think these are the design details that you don't necessarily get at more affordable brands, at fast fashion brands. You might get a very simple white linen dress, but it'd probably be unlined. It would probably be sheer if it was white, and it probably wouldn't have design details like the waist, like these interesting sleeves, even this deep V neck where it has a very deep V, but it has this clasp here that you can either have undone or done up. So actually you can wear a bra with this dress, even though it is a really deep V. I think the design details are just much more intentionally done. They've actually thought about how someone is going to wear this dress and not just making it look pretty on the hanger. Coming in at number 5 is a teeny tiny brand that I discovered recently. I don't even remember how I discovered them, but they are tiny. They have about 4,000 followers on Instagram, so a really small, tiny little brand making just a handful of dresses, but they are so beautiful. I had to tell you about them. They're called the Roofer's Granddaughter. I believe they're UK based, and they make about just 5 different dress styles, but super beautiful, cotton or linen, white mostly, but I think they do have a couple of colours on their website. Just beautifully done, the definition of a slow fashion brand. All of their items are made in the UK as well, which, believe me, is really rare these days for things to be made in the UK. They do ship to different countries. I don't believe that they offer returns if you're not in the UK, so that's something to bear in mind. But they are obviously a tiny little brand, so I don't expect them to offer things like that, but much larger brands are able to. Yeah, I really like them. Beautiful, very Bridgerton vibes, very classic, very cottagecore, running through fields of daisies. If you like that kind of look, it is a very kind of English countryside look. I really like it. They're very pretty. They are on the more expensive side, but again, they're a tiny brand making, you know, really small capsule collections of clothing. So one I had to mention as I just discovered them recently. Daughters of India is the 6th brand. They are quite similar in some ways to Pink City Prints. All of their dresses are handmade in India, and they also use a lot of techniques like Indian block printing to make their dresses. All natural fibres. I do think they're US based, but the things are made in India. So Pink City Prints might be good if you are UK based because they ship directly out of the UK, and then brands like Daughters of India might be better if you're US based. But it is a very similar kind of vibe, a very similar style of dress. If you like that style, I love it. Very feminine, very summery, very vacationy, very flowy and loose and comfortable to wear in the summer, but still looks really chic. At number 7, we have Hill House Home. This is a fairly recent discovery for me as well, although I think I have been somewhat vaguely aware of their existence for a few years. They are best well known for their nap dress. So I always heard the term nap dress floating about and didn't actually really know what it meant, but it is basically just a dress that you can nap in. It is as comfortable to wear around the house as it is to dress up and go out. And I really like that concept. I love dresses for wearing at home. I just find them so comfortable in the summer. And they have some lovely dresses. Similar prints in some ways to Daughters of India. They have lots of very pretty floral prints, mostly made of cotton. They have a lot of those dresses, a bit like this one from Pink City Prints, where they're shirred on the bust, they have little frill sleeves, and then they just go out into quite a full skirt. So if you like that style, Hill House Home, they are, I believe they're US based. But yeah, I really like them, and they recently launched in Liberty in the UK. So if you are in the UK, you can shop a small collection of their dresses either in Liberty in London or on Liberty's website. I have to say, Liberty is one of my favourite shops to shop online at. I think they have a really curated collection. They aren't like the other department stores like Harrods and Selfridges that have just huge amounts of brands and items. They have really small collections of just a handful of brands, but they usually have the best kind of brands on there. So if you're looking for beauty or clothing or homeware, I would definitely check out Liberty if you're based in the UK. But yeah, Hill House Home, another lovely brand, some more beautiful dresses, natural fibres, and mid-range price point as well. Another really small brand, similar to the Roofer's Granddaughter in some ways, but New York based this time. They're called Of Your Own Kind, I think? Of Her Own Kind. Sorry, Of Her Own Kind. And they have just a handful of dresses to choose from their website. They're all made locally in New York. They're all very beautiful. Again, they have that kind of regal, Regency, Bridgerton vibe to them, which obviously is going to be a huge trend this spring, summer. But I feel like it's always quite fitting if you have that very feminine style. In at number 9 is AYM or AIM Studio. I'm not sure how to pronounce the brand. This is a brand that I've heard about probably for the last 2 or 3 years, primarily on Instagram. They've gone viral a couple of times with some of their corset style tie dresses, which are basically this kind of slinky, they are, I think, a recycled polyester fabric, but they're this very soft kind of almost jersey fabric that is quite hugging to the body, but then they have corset style strings at the waist that you can really cinch in, and some of the videos show, you know, really cinching them and making a really well-defined waist. So yeah, that's their most popular style, but they do have a few other different styles of dresses. They are a more slow fashion brand. I know that the founder is quite vocal on Instagram. She often tries on the dresses. So they're female founded, UK based. I know a lot of their dresses, because they are that material, they're not like a cotton or linen, they are that very soft, thin, jersey stretchy kind of material. I know they're predominantly polyester. I know recycled polyester mostly, but still polyester. So you might not be a fan of that, but I do think they are doing something really interesting with polyester at the very least. And it's something that I've not seen at any other brand really. It's quite a unique one. And finally, we have made it to number 10. And number 10 is Christy Dawn. Christy Dawn is probably one of the most sustainable brands on this list of all of them. Also probably one of the more well-known brands, at least if you run in similar kind of fashion circles to me. I've heard of them for a number of years. They always fall into that category of people who like Doen and even Cézanne. Often you'll find them wearing Christy Dawn as well. We'll say that Christy Dawn generally use much more natural fibres than the other two brands, and they are much more transparent about their process. I know they have this farm to closet initiative where they invest heavily in the land and the soil and the people who make their cotton and their clothes. So I think that's really important. So yeah, definitely want to check out if you're really invested in that kind of sustainability and slow fashion approach. They have very similar dresses to some of the other brands in this video, Pink City Prints and Daughters of India, that kind of vibe, Hill House Home as well. Flowy dresses, quite bohemian dresses, very feminine, mostly cotton, linen, natural fibres with a little bit of printing here and there as well. And that is my dress video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found a new brand discovery. I really hope this encourages you to think about where you're buying your dresses from. If you can't budget for these brands at the moment, then always have a look for a similar brand secondhand, because you can often find these brands at more affordable prices, lightly used on places like Vinted and eBay or wherever you get your secondhand items. I do think it's really important to support brands that are genuinely trying to make a difference. I know the fashion industry is not perfect, and the very nature of producing new clothing that the world ultimately probably doesn't need is never going to be 100% sustainable, but at least if we choose to buy from these brands as opposed to other brands, hopefully putting money into those brands can help them to invest, like Christy Dawn do, in kind of the farming nature of cotton, in their practices, make them better over time. Ultimately, if you have the budget to be shopping at places like Cézanne and even places like Zara where you're buying maybe 3 items a season from Zara, maybe turn that into 1 item from one of these brands instead. If you would like more videos like this, do let me know by liking this one. It really helps my channel out. If you notice that you watch a lot of my videos but you're not yet subscribed, it would really help me out if you just press the subscribe button. Even if you watch my content all the time, it helps me out the most if you're actually subscribed. So please try and do that if you've not already. I will also leave some videos on screen if you haven't watched any of my more recent content, so you can click and enjoy those next. Otherwise, I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!